I'm JP Tuesday.
And I'm Kiki Cannon. As lifelong Disney fans, the work of countless talented Disney creatives have shaped our lives.
Now, as the Disney catalog expands, we're taking a journey through film and television to discover if that spark that shaped us as children lives on in adulthood.
Does your favorite Disney media still cast that same spell? Join us as we find out. We are Rewatching the Magic.
Hi, Kiki.
Hi, Tuesday.
We're still in a spooky mood. Halloween may have passed, but the spooky season lives on. This is our special Day of the Dead episode, and we see dead people. The Sixth Sense, the Bruce Willis movie, the movie that made Haley Joel Osment a star. I will always and forever know him as Sora from Kingdom Hearts, but yeah, a lot of people know him as the kid from The Sixth Sense, even though he's a grown man now.
And still working.
Yep. Again, he's a prominent voice actor. Not only does he do video games and animation, occasionally he will do some live action acting. But most of the work I've seen him in is voice acting. He's a pretty good voice actor.
Yeah, he's a good voice actor, and he's been doing a lot of television work recently as well. Just did a stint on Wednesday, most recently, as we're recording this. It was kind of a guest spot in season 2 of Wednesday, but still, you know.
Also, this is our first M. Night Shyamalan movie we've done for the podcast. What a twist!
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, M. Night Shyamalan movies known for the twist ending, and this movie kind of cements that. We had been talking about this off mic before we started. This is one of those movies that the most well-known part of this movie, other than the one line I just mentioned, the most well-known part of this movie is the twist ending. You know, it's like Star Wars. Someone who had never known Star Wars knows the big twist in Empire of Darth Vader revealing that he's Luke's father. People who have never read Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the fact that they're the same person is the twist ending. So it's like, it's those stories that even if you have no knowledge of the movie, even if you've never seen the movie, read the book, do whatever, engage with the media in any way, you know the twist. And could somebody who has never seen this movie before properly engage with this movie knowing that twist ending? And I found this out because I had never actually seen this movie before. I've seen parts of this movie before. Again, I know the twist ending, but I've never seen this movie beginning to end. And we will get into that as we go through.
The interesting thing, you know, you're talking about movies with twist endings, and just today, as we're recording this, I went into one of my favorite places to grab a treat, and one of the workers there, you know, as they were kind of making my drink and stuff to go, we were chatting as we do, and I found out that one of the workers behind the counter had never seen the original Psycho and did not know what the twist to Psycho is. And to everybody's credit, everybody in the room, it was just me and the people working, we all had the reaction of, instead of being like, oh, you loser, how can you have not seen Psycho by the time you're an adult, or, you know, whatever, and how can you be so disconnected from the world to not know the twist ending or whatever, you know. Everybody had the reaction of, wow, you've got to go watch it immediately before you find out, and because you're in for such an amazing time. That's going to be such a great thing for you. Like, if you can go into that film and watch it unspoiled, we all wish we could have had that experience. You know, go watch it immediately before somebody spoils it for you. What a great time you're going to have. We're jealous of that. So, can there be people who don't know this twist ending? Sure. There probably are. And I hope for them that they can, like, go find it. Like, if you're listening to this now and you've never seen this movie and you're like, wait, twist ending? What? Just stop it now and go watch it. This is a piece of surely great entertainment. Here's the thing. Since we're talking about the twist ending to this movie, and from here on out, spoilers. That was your spoiler warning. If you don't want spoilers for this movie, if you somehow do not know what this movie is about, what the big twist is, blah, 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 stop now. This is your final get off point before you can, before we mess it up for you. Go watch it, see what you think, come back. We'll still be here. Okay, I told you before we started recording, go back and find the original trailer for this movie from 1999. That's how old this movie is. Wow. Because I had heard that M. Night Shyamalan was absolutely livid when he saw the trailers for this movie. Because we could only find one on YouTube that was a legitimate trailer for this. You found a lot of those fan edit trailers, but we could only find the one legitimate original trailer from the time.
There's a couple of TV spots, but it really comes down to most people have only 5 senses, but he has one more, the 6th sense coming soon.
Yeah. But the actual theatrical trailer and pretty much every teaser trailer and theatrical trailer sold this movie on that one big line from Haley Joel Osment. I see dead people. It's that few lines that he has to Bruce Willis in the hospital where he tells the big secret. This kid sees dead people. He sees them all the time. They're walking around. They don't even know they're dead. They only see what they want to see. And when M. Night saw these trailers, he was furious because, directors don't get to choose how the film is marketed. And he was so mad because he was like, well, Disney has just given away the twist ending of my movie. Because he thought there was no way that people could see this trailer and not realize that, because he thought that was the point in the movie where, like, a savvy viewer was going to pick up on the pretty obvious twist. Like, if you're a really savvy viewer, he figured you would have picked it up well before then. And if you were kind of like medium savvy, you're really gonna have figured it out the second that the kid is like staring very meaningfully at Bruce Willis, telling him the secret, and the camera is pushing in on Bruce Willis's face like, get it? Do you get it? Do you get it? In fact, apparently they had a lot of meetings about whether they should use that zoom in on Bruce Willis's face because they thought it was too obvious about what the twist was. They thought that zoom in gave it away a little too early. And they finally decided, like, no, it's kind of okay to, like, give it away at that point. And for the filmmakers, they thought that, like, final montage at the end of the movie was really only there for the people who had, like, fallen asleep during, like, 90% of the film. Like, that final montage was apparently meant for, like, okay, if you've really not gotten it and need it absolutely, like, baby step walked it through, we'll give you this final montage. But apparently the filmmakers thought you would figure it out, like, way earlier than that. And I actually, when this movie came out, did not want to go see the movie because I was like, my aunt wanted to take me to go see this movie. And I was like, no, it's going to be boring. And she was like, no, I've heard it was opening weekend too. Okay. And so, before everybody and their, little kid had the internet, for all of that. And she was like, no, I've heard good things about it. And a couple of my friends saw it and they were like, something happens in the movie and you'll never see it coming. And I'm like, no, I think the trailer just kind of gives away everything in the movie. And we made a bet on it and I wrote down on a piece of paper what I thought happened in the movie, and I stuck it in her pocket. And she pulled out the paper after the movie, and she was like, "Yeah, that's not what you thought was going to happen in the movie, wasn't it?" And she pulled out the piece of paper, and I had literally written the twist ending on it. She was like, "Somebody told you," and I was like, "No, I watched the trailer. It's pretty obvious from the trailer." So. I have been able to guess the twist ending to every Night movie except for the one where it was the grass and the trees killing people, because that one was just too stupid. Like, even after they reveal what was going on in there, I was like, really? That's what you went with? That's what you went with? Okay.
So you even guessed the twist in the village?
The twist in the village was like really, really obvious to me, because I was like, there's no way he's going to be able to do a movie set in the past. He can't even do a movie set in the present.
Fair enough. Apparently, there was a bit of a controversy before a single shot of this movie was ever made. Because, every one of these kind of movies has, like, drama behind the scenes. So apparently, the then kind of head of Walt Disney Studios, a guy named David Vogel, had Shyamalan's script on his desk. He read it, loved it, and bought the rights to it without telling anyone else in the Disney hierarchy, and also didn't really tell anyone that part of the conditions of buying Shyamalan's script was that Shyamalan had to direct it. So he kind of got canned for it. So that is a very interesting story, that the head of the studio loved the movie so much, and he broke the chain of command to get it done, but also it cost him his job. I mean, he's probably still in the entertainment industry somewhere. I'm not looking it up, but it is an interesting story.
I will say that is the appropriate thing to have happened for the guy that's basically responsible for M. Night Shyamalan having a massive career. The thing that gets me about this movie is that this is the second highest grossing film of 1999. The only film that made more money than The Sixth Sense in 1999 was Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Do you want to know the type of movies this movie made more money than?
You know what? Go ahead.
This movie made more money than The Matrix that year. It made more money than the South Park movie. It made more money than Fight Club. It made more money than, like, Iron Giant. It made more money than Toy Story 2. It made more money than The Mummy, the good one, with Brendan Fraser. I mean, that's what we're talking about.
And it also won a buttload of awards.
It won a bunch of awards. It was nominated for 6 Oscars. It did not win any of those 6 Oscars, thank goodness. I mean, I would have been okay if it had won for, like, the acting ones, because both Toni Collette and Haley Joel Osment were nominated for Oscars, and I would have been okay with them winning. But, like, M. Night Shyamalan got nominated for Best Director and Best Original Screenplay. This got nominated for Best Picture that year. I mean, are you kidding me? This got nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. In 1999, which was one of the best years for film, I'm sorry, that just, it blows my mind. Because while I will say that this is by far the best film M. Night Shyamalan has ever made, it's also not a great movie in my opinion. Spoiler alert for the end of the podcast. But, I've never had, even seeing this movie for the first time and learning who he was, I have never had great respect for him as a writer or director. Okay? And I've never understood why people are so enamored with it.
For a lot of people, it was the first of these twist endings for Shyamalan, and it got them. And, it's so brilliant. Why we never figure it out. And it's like, I don't know if I would have or not, because, again, I already knew the twist before I ever really saw the movie. It was just that popular. Everyone was talking about it. So it's like, I mean, I would see it in other movies, other Shyamalan movies, and it was like, really? That's what you're going with? All right, just gonna use the twist ending as a crutch, aren't you, Mr. M. Night?
Well, I think that you're correct on that in that he got so much praise for having the quote unquote twist in this. And like I said, I think that they really thought that the audience would have figured it out a lot earlier. And I think that while this movie has, jump scares and all that, especially more than we talked about in 1 Hour Photo last week, which was more of a thriller and stuff. And this is closer to a horror film. But again, it's not a straight up horror film. And I'm trying to think of exactly how I would classify this because it's much more like a supernatural mystery to me in a lot of ways. I get why Shyamalan was so upset with the marketing because when you watch this movie, especially if you already know about, the I see dead people thing, which comes halfway through the movie. This movie sets up the first half to be like, what is wrong with this little boy?
Yeah, he does outbursts at school. He talks about dark things that in some a kid his age shouldn't be talking about, and somehow, they call him a freak at school because he talks so much about death and dark stuff that he is considered a freak among not only the children, but the teachers as well. So you would think, okay, what's wrong with this kid? And I think that what the original question was supposed to be before the I See Dead People marketing was what was wrong with this kid. I think you're right in that. And then to throw the line in the trailer takes away that mystery.
Yeah, you kind of bore the audience almost for the first half of the film because you've given away the mystery of the first half of the film.
Now, granted, the way the movie is done, we do not see the dead people until after he says the line. So we just think, oh, this kid is some psychiatric problems. And as Bruce Willis's character, who's supposed to be a child psychologist, says, okay, he's having these outbursts because his parents got divorced and his dad moved far away. And he's trying to, like most kids would, they're just trying to get attention. They don't care what kind of attention they get as long as they get attention. So this kid is having these outbursts to get attention, to which Haley Joel Osment is saying, no, that's not what's going on. And they do that question, like, hey, if I say the question, if I, say something right, you step forward. If I say something wrong, you step backwards. And he's stepping backwards, because Bruce Willis is not, he typical childhood trauma questions when it's not that. It's just he has this gift that he can see. Had the marketing for this movie not had that, you would just see, oh, this kid is just off. He's acting out because his parents are divorced. He's acting out because he's getting bullied at school. I mean, and so on and so forth. But by putting in the I See Dead People in the marketing, and the fact that that is literally the only line anyone can quote from this movie, you're right in that people are just waiting for that line to be said, and it's halfway through the movie. So the first hour is meaningless because for the first hour of this 2-hour movie, the question that the story is telling the audience is, what's wrong with this kid, when the people who are going into the movie already know that answer because they saw the commercial on TV. Because the entire marketing was, this kid sees dead people, this kid has an extra sense that he can see these things.
I assume that M. Night came up with the name of the film because I've never read anything about Disney changing the name of the film. So I assume that was the title on the script when they got it. if you're watching this movie and you somehow were able to go into it without watching any trailers or something, like a friend just was like, hey, I want to go watch this movie. It's got Bruce Willis. And you're like, hey, I like Bruce Willis. And you just sat down. The movie is called The Sixth Sense. And this kid knows stuff that he shouldn't know. Like, oh, this building was where they did a lot of executions and they hanged people. Also, like, the mom walks out of the room for 10 seconds and she walks back in and the kid hasn't moved, but all the cabinet doors are open.
Mhm.
Like, unless your kid is the Flash, that kid's not going to be able to silently open all of the cabinet doors in the kitchen in the 10 seconds you walked out of the room. I mean, that's a brilliant shot, by the way. There's some amazing shots in this, and I was like, how come he's never been able to do anything like that? Like, there's some really good, like, use of color in this and use of lighting. Some of the cinematography is really great, and I'm like, did he just have somebody else working on this film with him that like really knew how to use a camera? Because I've never seen anything in any other one of his movies. And I know you're thinking like, okay, you're a hater, you've just never seen any of it. No, I've seen like basically all of his movies. And I've never seen anything that I feel compares to some of the artistry in this film from a directing standpoint. And there's even some good lines in this film. He gets a lot of crap in some of the other films. Like, some of the worst lines ever put to film are in The Happening. You eyeing my lemon drink, boy? Some of those lines in there, you're like, this was written on Ambien or something.
Mhm.
But there are some legitimately good lines that like really hit you to the core. Like when the little kid is explaining to, Bruce Willis's character, the doctor, in that scene where they're doing the step forward, step back,
Mhm.
and Bruce Willis says like, "Oh, you're a good student and you've never been in trouble at school." And the kid takes a step back and he tells the story about they said to draw a picture about anything we wanted. And he drew a picture, presumably of what we know later in the movie was probably just a ghost he was seeing, and he was trying to communicate that. And he talks about drawing a picture of a man who had been like stabbed in the neck with a screwdriver or something. And he said, then all of a sudden, all the teachers got upset and they had a meeting and his mom was crying and everything. And he said, I don't draw that sort of picture anymore. And Bruce Willis says, well, what do you draw now? And he said, people smiling, rainbows. They don't have meetings about rainbows. And I had forgotten that line was in the movie. And it just, the way that Haley Joel Osment delivers that line, which is both so matter of factly and so heartbreaking at the same time. And as someone who grew up, I mean, we've talked about this before in other episodes, but like as someone who grew up with a lot of emotional problems and stuff, like I was kind of that little kid, without the supernatural nonsense, but I was the little kid that had the emotional problems and stuff. And they would be like, oh, go to art class and draw your feelings and stuff. And I would do that. And then suddenly there would be like meetings with teachers and school psychologists and stuff like that. And then it would be like, oh yeah, I have to remember that the next time they tell me to draw my feelings, I have to draw like what they think a little kid should draw about. Like, what would a normal little kid draw about? Puppies and rainbows and stuff,
Mhm.
Because they don't have meetings about rainbows.
The part that I like is when they talk about the missing piece of jewelry. I believe it is Haley Joel Osment that says that when you lose something, it's just a dead person moving it. A ghost has just moved it because they wanted to move it. And it's a very interesting thought. Like, how often has anyone lost something? I know I had it here. I know I had it here. I put it here. Where is it? And I do like how that movie explains it is a ghost that is in your house that has physically moved that thing to another place in the house because they could.
Yeah. There is a lot in this film that is kind of a different take on ghosts from a
Yeah,
lot of movies like this.
I saw this. Again, since this was technically a first watch for me, I was thinking of the movie Ghost, the Patrick Swayze Whoopi Goldberg movie, and how in that movie a ghost has to really concentrate to physically interact with objects in the mortal world. Otherwise, they're just walking right through it. In this movie, that's not the case. Ghosts can simply, it's very simple for them to interact with objects in the physical world. Hence, the moving of the jewelry, the fact that Bruce Willis thinks his wife is having an affair and he punches the glass window. So it's like, it's a different take on ghosts, especially, again, most interpretations of ghosts, they cannot casually interact with the mortal plane without training or concentration and how the movie portrays it, or they're just passing right through. But this movie is just, nope, they can, because most of them don't know that they're dead.
Well, also the fact that he keeps changing clothes instead of like being stuck wearing the one outfit that he was wearing when he died.
But if you go back, they're all variations of the same outfit.
Yeah, which I like, but it's just enough variety that, because having seen it before, I was looking for like every moment it's kind of really obvious that he's dead. I was thinking like, does he just like keep wearing the same outfit and we just didn't notice, Like most people just didn't notice.
I mean, there's enough of a change, like he'll not have the vest, or he'll have the button-up shirt and just the vest, or button-up shirt and the jacket, the suit jacket, or the overcoat, or even that sweater he had on at the beginning of the movie. All variations of that one outfit. And I do like that we never see him from behind without him wearing either the jacket or the overcoat. And the one time we do see him from behind, when he's just wearing the button-up shirt, we see the bloodstain.
Yeah. But it's just enough of a change to make you think like, oh, that's a completely different outfit. And you can get away with that with men's clothing, because men's clothing is so, or like at least kind of men's business wear clothing is so much alike, Like, to be honest, as long as it was clean and not smelly and not stained, a man could wear the exact same suit, like literally the exact same one every single day for months, and not like nobody would probably notice, They would just think like, oh, he owns like 3 pretty similar gray suits or something,
Or
But
you'll see, they've done that joke in others of them having an entire closet of the same outfit.
But if a woman wore 2 dresses that looked vaguely similar in silhouette or color, they'd be like, ugh, do you not own anything else? So it's just kind of the way it is. So I kind of like that they were able to get away with that and make the audience think that like he's wearing like entirely different outfits. But also they set up that ghosts can't generally see each other.
Yep, they see what they want to see. And if they don't think they're dead, why would a ghost see a ghost if a ghost doesn't think they're dead?
Yeah. The other thing is, I like the little touches, like, every time Bruce Willis goes to like go down into the basement to access his files and stuff, the door is locked, and you always see him like go to pat his pocket to find the key, but you never actually see him find the key or unlock the door or how he gets down into the basement, which means that he could just be like teleporting to the basement, walking through the door, something else, and we just never see how he's doing it. But also, you kind of get the feeling that he is opening the door because eventually his wife like puts a table with like books and stuff on it in front of the door. And so that's like telling you that the door has probably been left open from him like opening it.
You mentioned the use of color. The use of the color red in this movie, and it pretty much being everything that anyone dead has touched is red, almost blood red. Like the doorknob to the basement door is red. The volume on the tape player, the numbers are red. Even the little box that the girl has the VHS tape is red. So it's this nice little nod, and it's another one of those hints that you know of Bruce Willis's fate in this movie. If everything he touches is red and everything any of the other dead people touch are red, yeah, there's your clue. And I said that because I want to get to probably my favorite part of the movie is the little girl. Kira is her name. During one of the, it's about 3/4 of the way through the movie, there's this little girl ghost that appears in Haley Joel Osment's room and she's vomiting. And by this point in the movie, Bruce Willis has told little Haley Joel Osment, maybe you should start listening to what the ghosts have to say. Maybe they want you to help them. So he decides to help little Kira by going to her wake at her house, following the ghost and interacting with the family. And that's where Kira's ghost gives him the box with the VHS tape in it. And it gives it to Kira's father. And he watches the tape and you think, oh, it's a cute little puppet show that she did before she died. And she wanted her dad to see this puppet show. And then you see the real reason. And we find out that the mom poisoned the girl and has been poisoning the girl. That's why she was, because they say that she's been sick for years. And that's why she's been sick for years, because her mom has been poisoning her with pine sol. It doesn't say pine sol on the bottle, but you know the shape of the bottle. You know the color of the liquid.
And it says pine something.
Yeah.
It's like Pine Clean or something, yeah.
Couldn't get that sponsorship. But yeah, Pine Sol is going to really want their product in this movie that it killed a kid.
Yeah.
But, she puts basically Pine Sol in the girl's soup, and that's been keeping her sick and eventually kills her. And the dad has this awakening of, that's why my daughter has been sick. That's why my daughter died. You killed our daughter, and possibly was going to move on to kill Kira's younger sister, because she does have a younger sister there. So it's like, that is my favorite part, because it is the kid using his powers for good and helping, it is playing into the belief that spirits are here because they have unfinished business before they pass on. And that was Kira's unfinished business, is to tell her father what really happened to her. And he, of course, this leads into the ending of the movie, where Haley Joel Osment gives Bruce Willis the advice to help him pass on.
Yeah, and the thing is that we need to talk about the other thing. We need to talk about what makes Bruce Willis finally believe the kid. Because the movie starts out with him being shot by one of his former patients who's now an adult. Fun little cameo by Donnie Wahlberg there.
Yep.
This was one of his first acting jobs, wasn't it?
He definitely has the right stuff.
Yeah. Oh, Oreos. But he had just come out of New Kids, as you alluded to there, and I think this was probably one of his earlier acting jobs, and he's just really in there for that first scene, and he blames Bruce Willis for not helping him, for not curing him or whatever,
Yeah.
And then shoots Bruce Willis before he shoots himself, And he mentions several key things, which is, you said I had schizophrenia and I didn't. And they all called me a freak. And and what is the thing that, the kid keeps getting called, everybody calls him a freak. he keeps telling Bruce Willis, like, everybody looks at me like I'm a freak. Everybody calls me a freak. I don't want my mom to think I'm a freak. You know, when Bruce Willis meets Haley Joel Osment's character, you know, he first diagnoses him, like, immediately with schizophrenia.
That's the entire reason he goes to Haley Joel Osment in the first place, because Donnie Wahlberg's character and Haley Joel Osment's character have very similar stories, very similar symptoms. And he sees this as a make good. I made the mistake with Vincent. I can't make the mistake with Cole. I'm going to help this kid.
Yeah, and after Cole gets, you know, trapped by those bullies in the dumbwaiter with a ghost. I mean, the bullies don't know there's a ghost in there. They just lock him in the dumbwaiter. And the ghost inside the dumbwaiter attacks him and causes him to pass out and all. And his mom finds finds him in there and gets him out and everything, takes him to the hospital. That's the famous scene where Cole finally tells the doctor, like, I see dead people and blah, blah, blah. And the doctor's like, okay, this kid really is schizophrenic and I can't help him and whatever. But he goes home and he listens to some of his old recordings from Vincent when he was a little kid, Donnie Wahlberg's character. And he runs across one where he stepped out of the room for a little while and a ghost's voice has been captured on the recording.
Yeah, speaking Spanish. I don't want to die.
Yeah, and so one wonders why he never heard that before. I mean, he has to, like, turn it all the way up and everything. And he probably just fast forwarded through it
because he was
before.
out of the room, and then, from his perspective, the kid was alone. Why would he listen to a sound of a kid sitting alone in a room doing nothing? So he wouldn't even considered it.
Well, from my perspective, kids, especially schizophrenic kids, sometimes they talk to themselves, sometimes they talk to their imaginary buddies. Like, you never know what tidbits you might overhear, like.
But it is very similar to what we saw with Cole's character earlier, in that for some reason he knows Latin, and it's quite possible that one of the ghosts spoke Latin and he just picked it up. Very similar how the other ghost spoke Spanish to Vincent.
Yeah, it is interesting that he said only one of his soldiers spoke Latin, which I find interesting.
And that's why he starts to believe him, because, okay, that's what Vincent had. Vincent wasn't crazy. He was psychic. Like, this kid is psychic.
Yeah, he has a sixth sense. It's not much of a mystery if that's what you name your movie, Mr. Shyamalan. Sorry.
Yeah.
You can't get mad at the marketing department when you name your movie The Sixth Sense. Anyway.
I mean, I do like that after they help the girl, that things start going up for Cole, in that now that he is openly communicating with the ghost, they help him out. They help him get the lead in the school play. One of the ghosts is his acting coach, and and half of her body is burned, and the teacher says, yeah, when I was a kid in this school, they had a whole fire here. Had to rebuild the whole thing. Yeah, I know. So it's like, it's interesting. It's almost like this could have been spun off into something like the TV show Ghost.
Which, I'm just saying, if you've never watched the TV show Ghost, go watch it immediately. It's amazing, and I highly recommend it. I do want to say, you mentioned about the mom and their talk about the necklace moving.
Yeah.
And this is after we know that he sees dead people in the context of the movie. And there is a ghost that is moving the necklace. And his mom is convinced that he's been moving it. And she's a little upset because what if it breaks? What if, something happens to it? It was grandma's necklace, and that's very important to her, etc. And says to her son, now I'm going to ask you a question, and however you answer it, I'm not going to be mad and whatever. And she says, did you move the necklace? And he says, no, I didn't. And she immediately gets mad and says, like, I think you've had enough dinner and you need to go to your room and, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I hate parents who do that. Or like even adult who does that to another adult. If you're like, just tell me the truth, I'm not going to be mad no matter what the answer is, and then you immediately get mad and break your word, oh my God, ooh, I so dislike that. Like, if you're promising, like, I'm not going to get mad at you, I don't care if you are furious inside, you need to do so much holding it in.
Especially if you're saying it to a kid.
I mean, especially if you're saying it to a kid, but if you promise anybody that and then they're, they believe you on that, like you got to keep to that promise no matter what you're feeling inside, Like do not let them see it.
So, like, right after the school play, he's already, like, okay, this is going to be the last time I see you. And, Cole tells Dr. Malcolm there, you need to talk to your wife. Wait till she's asleep and she'll hear you. Anything you say, because one of the big complaints of the whole movie that Bruce Willis has is that he cannot talk to his wife, or his wife is not talking to him, and he believes that they're having a fight. Again, his wife has been getting really close to another guy. He thinks they're having an affair. So it's like, how do I talk to my wife? And he says, well, wait till she's asleep and then you can talk to her. Because he does say, sometimes when you're asleep, the dead can talk to you. So that's what he's given the that's another one of your hints. So he, and he finally goes back home and his wife is asleep. He sees, the dude is leaving. So he goes home and he talks to his wife and, finally the twist is revealed. Why did you leave me? I miss you. We finally find out everything going, like the wedding ring falls off of Bruce Willis's hand and all of it. And we finally get the reveal that Bruce Willis did die that day he got shot. And in that moment, he finally understands, it's not that his wife has been ignoring him. It's that she literally cannot see him because he is dead. And the reason that the dude that she's been seeing has been ignoring him because he is dead. She cannot see him. We never see a conversation between Bruce Willis's character and the mom, ever. Even in that first scene, they're not looking at each other. They're not conversing. Who called him to be his psychiatrist anyway? We don't know. He just showed up one day. So we finally get that all out that Bruce Willis has been a ghost this entire time, and he can finally accept that. And he finally tells his wife, one of the big complaints at the beginning of the movie was his wife saying, you've put everything second, including me, to your career, because that's at the beginning of the movie. He just won this award for all of the good he's done as a psychiatrist. And he says to her, you were never second. I love you. I will always love you. And it's my time to move on. And I love that he can finally say the words that he's always wanted to say to her. He just didn't understand that there was a way to do it. Because again, he didn't know he was dead. Because when he got shot, he says, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. So he just thought it went in and out. He didn't think it hit any vital organ, so he just went about his existence. His wife sees the blood. His wife sees that, it didn't just go in and out. It hit something.
Yeah, and once you start paying attention, they point out, like, kind of the major things in that final, like, oh, did you not notice? But, like, it's there from the start of the movie, every time he comes into the room, she always has like a shawl that she pulls closer around her, even when she's asleep, because the room gets colder whenever he's around.
Her breath gets cold.
Well, they don't until the end of the movie show the breath thing, but because I was kind of looking for that and I didn't see it. I mean, it might be there, but if it is, I missed it. But like every time he's near her in the house and stuff, even when she's asleep, she kind of like pulls the covers up around her, or she pulls her jacket tighter or whatever. And so it's a lot more subtle in the earlier parts of the movie, but it is there before you know that the ghost specifically make the temperature drop. And then after that, they start showing like the cold breath and stuff like that. interesting thing about it is that you talk about how like Toni Collette as the mom, as Cole's mom, never looks at Bruce Willis. But it's not just that. Nobody ever looks at Bruce Willis. Like, he's in the hospital when M. Night has his little cameo as the doctor that is treating Cole. And yeah, so like Bruce Willis is there. We see him in the same room, but he's always filmed like kind of separate from them when he's reacting. And neither the doctor or the mom ever react to Bruce Willis's character saying anything. Like
Yeah,
the doctor says like, "Oh, we found lots of like scratches and bruises and stuff on Cole." And the mom goes, "What?" And Bruce Willis goes, "Oh my God." And like he says it kind of loudly, but neither of them like look over at him for his input or anything.
and he also suggests we have a psychiatrist that works at the hospital if you need one. Well, if Bruce Willis is already there as the psychiatrist, why would they need to get him another psychiatrist?
Yeah. And like you said, they show the scene at the end in the kind of like, did you get it? Did you get it? You know, montage. But when Cole first comes in and they do the little step forward, step back game, Toni Collette and Bruce Willis are sitting in the same room, but it's total silence. And he's kind of looking at her, but she is just staring down at the floor. And it's not like they're chatting before Cole gets home or, you know, we don't come into the middle of a conversation like you would kind of write into the movie, like, you know, and they would be like, "Cole, you're home," or whatever. Like, it's just like complete silence. And then the mom is not like, "Oh, look who came to see you," you know, "Dr. Malcolm's here." Like, you know, it just, she acknowledges Cole, but she never acknowledges Malcolm, you know. And when they go to the wake at the little girl's house, Kira's house, for Malcolm, I mean, for Colt, Malcolm follows him, but no one in the room ever looks his way. He's standing in a room full of people and no one even glances at him, which is really cool on the part of the extras. Like, it's very obvious that they were told for some reason, like, you can look at the little boy, and several of them do as he walks past with the box. Like, a few of them, like, look down at him, like, okay, little boy carrying a box, you know? But not a single one of them ever look in the direction of Bruce Willis.
There's two more that I noticed. One is the school play. Bruce Willis comes walking into the stage or whatever, but we never see the door close behind him, and there's no one reacting to this guy that's just walking in the middle of this play. Number two, the bus ride to the little girl's family. Because when we see the outside of the bus, we're only seeing Haley Joel Osment and there's no one sitting next to him. Then we get the cut into the bus and Bruce Willis is sitting right next to him.
Yeah,
We
it's
never see him in
very
that window.
subtle. Yeah, it's very subtle, the bus thing, but you're right. Also, there's two, Bruce Willis comes to two different plays. There's the one that Haley Joel Osment has the like tiny role in, and then there's the one at the end where he's like the main character. You know, he's playing like King Arthur by the end of it, you know? And Bruce Willis is at both, and in the first one, he's just like sitting in the audience. And so it's very easy to realize that, like, one of the parents in the background, because all the parents are holding up video cameras. All of the parents are holding up video cameras during that scene to record it. And if you pay very close attention, the father behind Bruce Willis would have been filming the back of Bruce Willis's head. If you follow the like eye line of the camera. So if Bruce Willis had really been sitting in that seat, like that guy would have just been filming the back of Bruce Willis's head for the entire play. It's like super subtle, but it's kind of interesting on like a fourth or fifth rewatch if you pay like really close attention to that. There is one
Yeah.
of the dads behind him that would have just gotten like some random dude's like head and nothing else if that guy had been there. So it's really funny. But then the second play, Bruce Willis is just like standing in the aisle and nobody looks at him like, you weirdo, sit the hell down. Like he just wanders in and stands in the aisle for the entire play and watches it. And nobody's like, dude, just grab a seat. There's tons of empty seats around you. You're lurking over people and it's weird,
Yeah.
you know?
So yeah, there's enough hints if you're, like you said, on a second or third rewatch of the movie, you'll notice it. Yeah. But to kind of wrap this one up on a happier note is when Cole finally tells his mom his secret. Because they're in traffic, there's a car accident, and Cole just says, yeah, I know there's a car accident. The lady died. She's right outside my window. Again, that scene is in the trailer. And it's like, why is that scene in the trailer if it's at the end of the freaking movie? Again, I would understand why M. Night Shyamalan will be angered at that.
Yeah, about half of his conversation with his mom is at the end of the movie, is in the trailer, where he tells his mom that,
Yeah.
like, he sees dead people and stuff. And at first she's like, honey, stop making up stories and everything. And then he tells her, like, Grandma wanted me to tell you a bunch of stuff. And he starts telling her, like, really specific stuff that happened when she was a child that he could not possibly know. And it is so specific that Tony Collette, like, there is no way he could know this, because
Especially
nobody else
since
was there. It was very private moments between her and her mother, or just her alone at a gravesite.
yeah, because the way the conversation goes is that her and her mom ended things on bad terms. And they've probably been on bad terms for a while prior to Grandma's death. Like, she went to a dance recital and she and her mom had a fight. Well, turns out she was actually there to see her dance, even though the mom thought she wasn't. And after she died, she asked a question, have I ever made you proud? And little Cole just says, well, she said you asked her a question and her answer was always. And it's like, how could that kid know? There's no way that kid would have known. The scene is happy enough that it can work for the movie, but it's just enough that maybe this mom might have second thoughts like a few hours after this conversation. But for the sake of the movie, it's a nice little bow to that he was finally able to open up to his mom, because that's been his whole fear the entire movie, that he cannot open up to his mom, because if he tells his mom his secret, she'll think that he's a freak, and that is the one person he does not want to see him as a freak. But it's a nice moment, a nice tender moment that works in the moment of the movie. Kiki on all of that. Well, we've already know it, but we'll just get the formality out of the way. Kiki, does the Sixth Sense have the magic?
I'm still going to say no, but I will say that rewatching it did have some better parts in there than I remembered. And it's definitely the best of Knight's films. I think the problem with him is that this film was so immediately praised, and maybe overly praised. I still don't know why people went so nuts for this movie. I think it's a decent film. Not a great film, but decent. It's watchable, which you cannot say for most of his films. But I think the problem was that it grossed so much money, and for some reason it got Oscar nominations. I still don't know why that they would have done that. But the thing is that I think that the kind of relatively early success, this wasn't his first movie by any means, but it was pretty early in his career, and I think he suddenly bought into his own hype. And because of that, he like just went nuts with it. And everything after this sucked really bad.
I am going to agree with you in the fact that the success of this movie shaped his career. And like I said, the twist ending became a crutch for M. Night Shyamalan. My personal opinion on that. But the movie itself, I think that I honestly would have enjoyed the movie more had I not known the twist. Movie is passable. Movie is fine. I don't understand. When I watched this movie on Hulu and they had a warning, mature audiences warning for the movie, even though this is a PG-13 movie, so there's nothing really obscene other than a few swear words and implied nudity because there's Bruce Willis's wife taking a shower.
I mean, you can't see anything. It's kind of just a silhouette of a human form.
But I will say that, the movie's fine. I mean, it got praised for a reason. I'm going to say magic, but I think I would have enjoyed the movie more had the twist not become a meme and had M. Night Shyamalan twist endings had not become a meme.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a stamp of watchable, which is about the best I can say for any night movie.
All right, fair enough. As for next week, we are going into the woods. We are going to be taking a look at Disney's movie version of Into the Woods.
It's been a while since we've done like a full-on like Broadway style musical.
Yeah, and this movie has had a lot of criticisms for the changes Disney made, and we'll talk about them next week. And it's not like a certain musical is coming into theaters in a few weeks that Disney lost a chance to make, and this was a make good for that. But yeah, we're gonna be back on that.
Yup.
So come back next week for Into the Woods, and we will talk to you all next time. Bye.
Bye.
Don't let the magic stop here.
Keep the conversation going. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Rewatching the Magic.
We are also on Blue Sky, rewatchingthemagic.bsky.social. And new episodes are available at rewatchingthemagic.podbean.com and youtube.com/@rewatchingthemagic. Remember, the magic is for everyone.
It only stops if you let it.
We know that right now, things are tough.
But in the words of Jim Henson, the only way the magic works is by hard work. But hard work can be fun.
Check out our show notes for ways that you can help.